Hey, what's up guys? Wood here of Wood's Motors, where we share with you our passion for all things engine and motor related. As you can see, I'm standing right next to a cool little mini beast. It's a Honda Rally, a CRF250 Rally in fact, a 2017 model. And I want to take you through a quick review, just a personal guide to you as to why I think this could potentially be all that you need for off-road rallying and adventure riding. Perhaps with a few mods here and there if you really want to take it seriously. But without further ado, let me take you through what this bike has to offer. So what we have here is a 250cc single-cylinder 24 brake horsepower engine. Now I know that doesn't sound like much, and for those that are absolute power hungry and you want lots of horses, well, this may not be the bike for you. But for those that are looking at a practical ride that you can literally take around the city and to the tracks, this could be the answer to those needs. So let me tell you why. So in essence, it's much the same bike as those of you that have owned or ridden a 250L model, but it's just had a few modifications and upgrades, which I think makes it more viable as an adventure touring partner for you. So this motorbike has taken the 250L model and basically given it more suspension travel, therefore giving it more ground clearance. It's also changed some of the labeling on the bodywork, added a little windscreen, and also added more capacity to the fuel tank for that longer adventure-focused ride. I know it's only got 24 horsepower. It's not too powerful that you could seriously injure yourself, but it does have enough power to push you through any obstacles you could come across, which I've found while riding this motorbike. Like its predecessors, this too has long service intervals, unlike its rally brothers, so you can take it like a road bike, but with good off-road credentials to take you off the beaten path enough to have that feeling of having an off-road adventure. One of the things that I love about this bike is its riding position. It is higher than the 250L model, and it feels like you're sitting on top of a tall bike. But being a tall guy, this is a good deal. But for those of you that maybe are not quite as tall, don't fear. Because actually when you sit in the bike, you can get your feet down. And you can also adjust the suspension and the forks to fit you better. It's not unlike the Africa Twin actually. The beast papa of this is obviously that Africa Twin. However, it is a nice comfortable riding position. With those wide handlebars, it makes it very easy to ride. I've got to say that the seat is a little hard, so if you're going to ride around the world, then maybe invest in a little sheepskin to give you that extra softness, or replace the seat altogether with something that's set to give you a little bit of comfort on those long multiple-hour journeys. The engine has nice power and even has a little rumble to its sound, but not too much that the neighbors would get mad at you. What I want to get to is the handling of this motorbike. This is what really amazed me. In fact, what I did was I got the Honda dealer locally here to raise the suspension to its highest and to set the monoshock to its hardest setting. Only because of my size and my weight, I figured I need to give this bike the highest chance of being able to handle as I, take it off the beaten path. But what really blew my mind was its low center of gravity. It really makes riding a joy. And you can tip it into corners a lot more than you would imagine with such amount of ease. It really does make you feel confident and balanced. This bike is awesome to ride, I've got to say. The stock tires that come with this bike are good for standard road riding. You can't feel the rumble on the road, but it's enough teeth on it to take you a little bit off the beaten path. But I've got to say that if you're really going to take it seriously into some muddy areas, like I discovered, you might want to upgrade those and give it some proper off-road tires. I found that once it started to get clogged up with mud, I was pretty much slipping and sliding. Although, I've got to say, it just added to the fun of my journey. This bike, let's get onto its ground clearance. It's got 270 millimeters of ground clearance, and the seat height is at 895 millimeters. So it really is a very tall and very capable bike. And I believe that when you ride it, when you take it off-road, which I have done numerously here in the Philippines, that's when I find the bike at its best. One of the things that they did in upgrade to this bike, apart from the looks from the 250L, is that they gave it a much bigger tank capacity. It's a 10.1 liter tank, which is fantastic because it gives you obviously more kilometers on your rides. However, it does add a little extra weight to the ride. So with the bike wet, I believe it weighs 158 kilograms, which once it's riding and running, you really don't feel it because the balance of this bike is fantastic. So I believe it's actually a great improvement over the 250L model. The styling features of this bike, for some, is a little strange. For others, I can see where they're going at. It's got that old Dakar feel to it. It's got the double headlight, which actually I believe is a copy from its Big Papa, the Africa Twin. And it does look good. For me, I love classic motorbikes, but as far as a modern bike with plastics on it, this bike really does do the job. And it looks great, and even more importantly, it rides great. So this motorbike comes with a modern digital display. Very easy to read in bright sunlight. Shows you your RPMs, gives you a little trip computer, really just give you everything that you need. It comes with a little screen, a little wind protector. I found that it works okay, but being that I'm a little taller, I can still feel the wind buffing my head. But to be fair, I'm sure it works well. It's probably better than my other bikes that don't have any screens in the front. Well, you just feel absolutely everything on your chest and on your face. So this really does help somewhat. The fairings and everything on the side help to give it that little aerodynamic flavor. I didn't really feel much wind resistance on my legs as I was riding it. It's got quite a kind of chunky chest, if you like, in the front end of it. So yeah, it does its job very well. It comes with these hand guards. You know, they will take the twigs off of your fingers when you're riding off-road, but if you were to hit something a little harder, I don't think it's gonna do anything. This is actually softer plastic, but it's enough just to kind of give you that little bit of extra protection as you're riding the motorbike. One of the very few gripes I have about the design of this bike, not its function is fantastic, but would be its tail. As you can see, the tail is a little bit overkill, I'd say, and it's got such a huge amount of plastic. I feel like maybe it's a little Transformer-esque, and that's not really my vibe. I'd rather it was just simple and metal. But other than that, that's really all I got to gripe about. The rest of the bike is great. The standard exhaust pipe that comes with it works great, sounds good, and after a few kilometers of riding, it seems to have a little bit of an extra rumble as the bike settles in. So yeah, it's a pretty neat bike. A little useful feature we have is the rear luggage rack that sits in the very back, and I found that useful for travel, tying things down. Just having it there just gives you that little adventurous opportunity and vibe, and I think it kind of makes the bike look tougher too, just having that rack. I've got to say, I really love the inverted monoshock that comes with these bikes. It just feels great going over bumps. Feels like you can go over anything that you desire. And since I had it raised up to its highest setting, it's just perfect for my arm position. My arms never felt tired. I just sit in that nice upright, comfortable rolling position. I'm not like a cafe racer style of rider. I don't really want to be bending my back and cupping my head in from the wind. I want to be able to see what I'm riding to, what I'm looking at, and just enjoy the nature as I'm riding our motorbike. So yeah, but this front fork setup, this inverted fork, is a dream. Really is a nice setup. To think it just comes standard with this bike is pretty awesome. You know, the side view mirrors of this bike is not going to win any awards for design and looks, but actually in terms of functionality, because they are wide and they sit up a little taller, you're not just looking at kind of like your elbow or your shoulder, you can actually see well behind you, which I find good. And the vibration levels on this bike while you're riding are really very minimal considering what it is. The mirrors are nice and stable when you're riding. It just functions as it should be. The brakes are pretty decent, it stops you well and good enough. So long as you're not driving like a maniac, I don't think these brakes are gonna cause you any problems or concern. So anyway, just to wrap it up in summary, I believe that if you were to purchase this Honda CRF250 Rally, this is a 2017 model, you would not be disappointed. In fact, you would have a great adventure partner. It is a fantastic dual sport adventure bike. It's very capable as it is straight out the factory, as I've found in these last 8 weeks. But if you want to modify it a little bit, just to take it a little harder, upgrade maybe your set of shoes, that's what I mean by tires. If you wanted to go a little bit more hardcore off-roading, or you're gonna pack it like a mule because you're gonna go around the world, then maybe look at stiffening up the suspension somewhat. The front forks are fantastic already. It's got everything that you need for a life of adventure. So, in conclusion, yes, I love the bike. Would I suggest that you buy it? Yes, if you're into adventure riding and if you're not too hardcore. If you're super hardcore, then you might want to add some modifications, or if the power is not enough, then go for a 450 or a 600 or go on up to some of those other beasts. But that does come at a higher price, and to be honest, this has got enough power to take you anywhere you want with a lot of fun, and probably for those of you that are a little kamikaze, could save your life because it doesn't have too much power that you're gonna end up wasting yourself on a wall or on a tree somewhere. But it definitely has enough acceleration and power to just give you that buzz that riding should anyway. I'm an adventurer. I believe that if you guys are watching this, you're probably watching it because you're thinking, could this be my adventure partner? My answer would be yes, from my personal experience. Look online for all the technical specs. I didn't want to bore you with that today. I just wanted to take you through what I felt was good about this bike. If you are shorter, I know some of you are worried. I'm 6'4". It is a little tall. It does sit tall, but you can do some modifications with the linkages, etc., and shorten it to fit you. So there are ways around it if you want to have this bike. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little mini review. And until next time, have fun, ride safe, share your adventures with your friends and your family. I'm Wood, and I'll see you in the next episode.